Sunday of 1980, when I had a grand mal seizure at home, and I was rushed to the Methodist Hospital. The next thing I knew, I woke up and it was March the 20th, 1981. And the doctors were telling me that I had just come out of a coma that I'd been in for the last 2 months. After they had to do the emergency brain surgery on me to remove my right temporal brain lobe after they found out I had contracted a rare viral encephalitis.
My goodness.
And I said, "Jeez, what a heck of a thing to wake up to."
Yeah.
And then, of course, my parents, after they came up to me, they came and visited me when they were allowed to, and I asked her, I said, "Where's Judy, my wife, and the children?" They said, "Well, Bill, they're not here anymore." I said, "What do you mean they're not here anymore?" She said, "Well, Judy has divorced you and already married a man in the army, and they've moved to Germany." I said, "God dang, what a kick in the butt."
How long were you out?
I was 2 months. I was in a coma for 2 months.
From when to when?
From January to March the 20th.
Of 1980 or 81?
I went in the hospital January, Super Bowl Sunday 1980. And I got out in March of 81, March 20th of 81.
Well, that would be 14 months, wouldn't it?
No. I went in Super Bowl Sunday in 1980, and then
That'd be in January, though.
January, then February, March of 81.
Okay, so Super Bowl Sunday of 81.
Yeah.
Okay, this all happened in 1981, not 1980. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 months, not 14 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I thought you said from January of 80 to March of 81.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So for 2 months you were. And how old were you then?
I was 33 years old, and they didn't think I was going to live to see my 34th birthday. But
And how old are you now?
I'm 58. I'll be 59 the 25th of this month.
I see.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
And I still got all my teeth and most of my hair,
Right.
but I don't have no brains anymore. They took them out. They took them out in surgery. God dang.
You got some.
So I bet you've never met a real true Aggie before, have you?
I don't know.
Well, see, let me qualify that. My dad graduated class in 1934. Electrical engineering.
Right.
I wasn't born until 1947, so without choice, while my mother was powdering my naked bottom after changing my diet, I had Aggie genes in my blood. And then before I started graduate school out there several years ago, I had to have half my brains taken out surgically. So I are a real Aggie. I are one.
You are one.
I are one. I are one.
So tell me about, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Abilene, Abilene, Texas,
Yeah.
And I graduated from high school there and went to start at McMurray College. In those days, I wanted to be a doctor, so my first year at McMurray College, I majored in pre-med. And after the first year, I got my report card, and all my hopes and dreams, ever since I was a little kid, went up in a poof of smoke. Because I made a big red F in chemistry. I said, "How can you be a doctor without chemistry?" So a friend of mine said, why don't you come on and start working with me in, at that time they called it inhalation therapy. And I said, "Okay." And I fell in love with it right quick, so I made that my career. And thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
But I did a lot. I had a lot of fun and a lot of experience doing that.
So you went to McMurray College.
McMurray College.
And then when you left Abilene, where did you go?
When I left McMurray, we moved to Dallas, so I could enroll at El Centro College.
Right.
At that time they had the only 2-year respiratory therapy registry program, and I got my associate's degree in allied health there, and my registry in respiratory therapy there.
Right.
After I took a written exam, clinical exam, and some other exam, a whole bunch of exams, oral exam, and I got my registry in respiratory therapy there. And I started working I was working at Children's Medical Center as a pediatric respiratory therapist.
I see.
At that time. And I worked there. My son was born in January of '71. I've always called him a little Dallas cowboy. And then he was born in January '71, and I'd finished college, and my draft status changed from deferment to the 1A.
Right.
And I didn't particularly want to go into Viet Nam and leave my wife home with a 4-month-old son. So I joined the Air Force after I found out that they were looking for train respiratory therapists to teach respiratory therapy at the Phase 2 Cardiopulmonary School at Scott Air Force Base, Illinois, which at that time was the MAC headquarters, Military Airlift Command. So I went there, and after I got my assignment and my hours when I was supposed to be teaching and stuff like that, I found out I had time in the evenings to take classes over at Southern Illinois University, SIU, at Carbondale.
Right.
So I enrolled in Carbondale, and I majored in occupational education. I wanted to teach respiratory therapy after I got out of the Air Force. So I got my bachelor's degree there, and in June of 73, my daughter was born at Scott Air Force Base. I've always called her my little Yankee. In fact, she's the only Yankee in the whole Hamilton family that wasn't born in Texas.
Right.
And I got my associate's degree and then my registry, and I worked at Children's Medical Center. And then when my draft status changed to 1A, well, I joined the Air Force May of 71, May 1st of 71. And they sent me, after basic training, after a 6 to 9 week basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, they sent me direct duty, no tech school, just because I was already registered, right straight to Southern Illinois at Scott Air Force Base.
Yeah.
And I started teaching respiratory therapy in the Cardiopulmonary Phase 2 school there.
Right.
And then when I was there, I got my bachelor's degree in occupational education. And then before I got out, I got my master's degree in counseling education, all from Southern Illinois University. And then after my honorable discharge, May 1st of 1975, we moved back to Texas. We wanted to get we wanted to get back to a place where people talk right.
Right.
It took me 4 years. I still didn't teach them Illinoisans how to talk.
Right.
They still didn't talk right.
Yeah.
So we moved back to San Antonio. In fact, the reason we moved back to San Antonio, not just somewhere else in Texas, was that about 10 months before I knew I was up for my discharge, I started writing letters to places that I'd like to locate at that had a respiratory therapy school. And I wrote a letter to St. Philip's College, and I got a real hot letter back and said that we've been looking for a person with your qualifications, and we'd like the job is open and ready for you, starting at $40,000 a year. And I was 28 years old. So I jumped on that like a snake on you know what.
Yeah, sure.
And I told my commanding officer I was leaving. He said, "You getting out? I thought you were going to be a career man." I said, "Yeah, I am, a civilian." He said, "Why are you leaving?" I said, "I got a job paying me $40,000 a year." He said, "Well, that beats the heck out of buck private pay, don't it?" I said, buck sergeant pay. I said, "Yeah, it does." I said, "I'm going." So I started teaching there, and when I got there, my wife, she was an X-ray technician when I met her in Abilene. And we got married in 1969 there in Abilene. And after I got out of the Air Force, she got a job, when I started at St. Philip's College, she got a job with a large group of radiologists as their chief ultrasound technician, making another $30,000 a year, $32,000. So, and she was 26. So here we were, under 30 years old and making over $70,000 a year.
Goodness.
So I said, Shazam! You know, so we both went ballistic with all this money we was making. So we bought a great big home. We didn't need that big a home. We bought a great big home, a 19-foot inboard-outboard ski boat, 165 horsepower Johnson. Taught her how to ski. I knew how to ski, and I taught the children how to ski. And I taught there until Super Bowl Sunday, 1980, when all hell broke loose. When
I didn't even get this straight. Is it 80 or 81?
No, it was Super Bowl Sunday of 1980.
80.
80.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you were in a coma for 2 months till March of 1980, right?
No, March of 80.
Of 80. Okay.
Well, let me see, Tom. Let's see. It was January when I went in.
Of 1980.
Yeah, 80. And I'm a brain surgeon, and I was in coma for 2 months. So January, February, March of 81 is when I came out of the coma.
Okay, well that'd be 14 months. From January of 80 to March of 81, that'd be 14 months.
That time mixed up or something.
Yeah.
Because I know I was in a coma for 2 months. So
Well, if you were in coma for 2 months, it had to be in 1 year, either 80 or 81. Did it all happen?
It was 80. It was 80.
So
80.
January of 80 to March of 80.
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
And then after I got out of the coma, I was told that I was permanently disabled, couldn't ever work again, and my wife had left me, and I had to start rehabilitation. So I started there in San Antonio, and then after my wife divorced me, I couldn't live by myself, so my mother and dad moved down to Bryan to live with them. So I lived with them out there at Steep Hollow, and started rehabilitation at Brazos Valley Rehab Center.
Right.
Here, and Dr. H.D. Pope has been my doctor ever since I moved down here. And I stayed here. I was doing that for several years, and in 1990 or 91, I got a full scholarship to a rehabilitation called Project Reentry. It was at Delaware Medical Center in Houston. And they were teaching adults with a brain injury how to live independently. So I went down there and I lived by myself in an apartment just within a block or two of where, so I could walk to it back and forth.
Right.
And I finished that program, and it was a godsend because after all that had happened to me, I had lost all my self-confidence. I mean, it was just like starting all over. I had to learn how to write again. I had to learn how to dress myself again, the whole bit. I was just like starting over like a baby. And it was a long, long thing. In fact, that's the book I've been working on ever since I got out of the hospital in 81. I've been working on a book called The Long Road Back.
Yes, sir.
And I've been working on it because while I was in that coma, they said I had died. The doctor told me that I had died at part in time in that coma. And somewhere during that time, I met the Lord. I was a Christian before that time, but I met the Lord. I found myself walking in the most beautiful place I had ever seen in my life. Beautiful, clear blue skies, white puffy clouds about waist deep. And I was walking towards the back, towards a person faced away from me. Long brown hair and a white scarlet robe. I knew I had to touch that person to live. So I kept walking and stumbling and falling, getting back up, walking, stumbling and falling. And just as I got close enough to touch, I reached up to touch his shoulder, and he turned around and grabbed me. And I fell on my knees. I said, God, please don't let me die. I've got 2 young children I want to see grow. And he pulled on my hand and called me by name. He said, Bill, stand on your feet. You're not going to die. For I want you to do something for me. I want you to go now and write me a book. Call your book The Long Road Back. Tie it into my Bible scripture so it'll be an inspiration to other people on their long road back to my son Jesus, to Jesus. So I've been working on that ever since,
Good.
And then
What a wonderful story.
since I've been down here in Bryan, I can't drive anymore, so I have to be hauled everywhere, or people have to come over here and pick me up. But I've been involved with the last 9-10 years with the Bryan Independent School District as a host reading volunteer at Fannin Elementary School.
Yes, sir.
I tutor disabled children in reading, and I just love it. Because one of my goals in life is to become a writer. I've been working on my autobiography, but also write poetry. In fact, 1989 I was awarded Poet of Merit from the American Poetry Association for my poetry that I sent them. But I write children's stories too, and science fiction. So I like to write all kinds of things. And I have more fun with little kids. That they found out from the teacher that I write children's stories and poems, and so they wanted me to recite one of my poems that I'd written. So I asked them a question. That one little boy says, "Mr. Bill, could you tell us a poem that you've written?" I said, "Well, let me ask you a question first." Little black boy in the back said, "This a test?" I said, no, just a show of hands. I said, okay. I said, how many in here have heard the little rhyme or riddle about Humpty Dumpty? Of course, all the kids raised their hand. I said, well, let me see if you heard it this way. Humpty Dumpty really sat up in a tree. but you know that turkey fell off backwards and broke his left knee. Then he jumped back up and said, tee hee hee, you can't hurt Humpty Dumpty. I'm a poet, and I know it. My feet short, they're Longfellows. And one little old boy, one little student said, one of the black boys said, who that Longfellow dude is, Mr. Bill? I said, you mean who is Longfellow? He said, yeah, who that dude is? I said, he's a poet. You'll learn about him in high school. He said, did he have feet, big feet, Mr. Bill? I said, about like that. The teacher goes, Mr. Bill, you going to blow their mind. Well, I said, well, better here in the classroom than out there on the street.
Yeah.
Well, I write silly stuff like that.
Right.
They have more fun with those little kids.
You have the poems, written that you...
Oh, yeah, I've got them put them on computer that I save them.
Yeah.
But I write, well, I don't write all silly stuff. I write good stuff, too.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I just want to...
Well, I want to do a TV show with you next week. Will you bring some of the poems and read them? Will you pick some about two or three of your favorite ones?
Yeah.
And read them on the TV show?
Sure.
Good. I want you to do that. Well, keep going.
Okay. Well, anyway, I really enjoy working with those little children.
Yeah.
And then I do my volunteer work with my disabled American veterans. I'm the assistant chaplain. I was the chaplain, but then another black man by the name of Neil Nuttall joined, and he was a ordained minister. So my commander asked me if I'd step down from being chaplain and be the treasurer or an assistant chaplain. So they made him the chaplain, and I'm the assistant chaplain and the treasurer for the local chapter of disabled American veterans. Right. And I do everything with them.
Right. How long have you been a member of the DAV?
Since I moved down here since 1981.
Since 1981, so when you moved here. Because I haven't done anything on the show specifically about the DAV. I have about the VFW and the American Legion, but not the DAV. So you can tell me a lot about.
We've got about 400 members, 400 members. They're not all active.
Right.
When we have, it's a shame because when we have a meeting, it's like on many other organizations, only the very few, the workers show up. All the other people just kind of congregate. They just say, oh, we don't need to come.
Right.
There's nothing to do. But we go out and visit people at Waco VA Hospital. You know, we go up there every Christmas. We have a big Christmas party. All the ladies auxiliary makes cookies and cakes and stuff like that. And we drive up there to Waco and go into the VA area there, and well, these people are in there for life. You know, they're really severely disabled. But we have a little Christmas party, and I really enjoy doing that. In fact, one man, I was sitting there talking to one old guy, and he was old. I could tell by his look. But he looked at me and said, "Hey, Sonny, what conflict were you in?" I said, Viet Nam era. He said, oh, the no unpopular war. He said, well, I was in big WW2. He said, you know, he said, I found out. And this is what he said. He said, I found out. He's about 90-some years old. Well, 90. He said, I found out that those daggum Germans were born pregnant. I said, what do you mean? He said, I had a machine gun. And I just kept, and I'd mow those Germans down by the hundreds, and they kept coming over the hill. They never stopped. Good grief! I said, man, you got some stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he thought they were born pregnant.
Yeah.
but hey, our commander of the DAV started this chapter over 30 years ago. Floyd D. Wells is his name. And he's one of my best friends. And we always go out to coffee together. They come up. Everybody comes to my back door and honk.
Yeah.
You know, and I go out there. That's where I meet him. Yeah. And then we go out for coffee together.
Now, is Mr. Wells still alive?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he lives over on Oak Lawn Street.
I see.
Here in Bryan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he started the DAV chapter.
Yeah, he started, and he's still commanding. Every year he's been reelected. I said, Floyd, how long you been this chaplain there? He said, about 20-some odd years now. I said, well, golly, one of these days you'll be able to retire with a nice pension from this group. He said, from this poor group, I can't even get you guys to buy me a cup of coffee.
Now, how old is he?
He's late 60s, mid 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he a Vietnam vet or what's
No, Korean War.
Korean War? Yeah. What's his disability?
Gosh, I don't know what the real name of it is, but he walks around pretty good. As of lately, though, he's had heart. He's wearing a heart, not a pacemaker, but a recorder.
Right.
In fact, I called this morning, telling him what I was going to be doing. I asked him what he's doing. He said he's going to go have the recorder run and see what problems he's been having, because he's been having these real dizzy spells, blackout spells, and falling down.
Oh my!
But
what else does the DAV do? I mean, you all meet, and what do you all? Yeah, you go to Waco and
and we go visit veterans here in the local
programs. Do you?
Veterans in the local hospitals here.
Right.
We're always involved in some kind of fundraiser for the chapter.
Right.
We did have a place out at the jockey lot. We had a booth out there, and we sold all kinds of stuff out there and just raised money for our chapter. But we couldn't get enough people to go out and help. It was just me, Floyd, Doug, and Leroy. That was 4 of us out of 400 members. You know, people just didn't want to do anything. So we just finally closed it down. It was just too much work.
Right.
And so we just we come up with new ideas. Floyd is working on other ideas about selling some things that our veterans have made out at the Walmart or shopping center one of these days, you know, stuff like that, just to really help raise a little bit of money for our chapter.
Right.
But that's about all we do. We just congregate with the veterans and get involved as many. And Floyd, of course, is a real political activist. He's really up on. He's a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And it was funny because when I first met him, he said Democrat. He asked me what my political affiliation was, and well, ever since my great grandpa, we've been Republicans. He says we'll have to change that. So the first time I went home and told my mother that I voted, she did. You vote today? I said, yeah, I voted straight Democrat next year. What? I said, well, Mom, you know, the way I look at it, the Republicans have been in there a long time, and they've been messing up. Let's try some Democrats, see if they can do something better. I said, we need to find somebody to get in there and do something right.
Where you have a son and a daughter?
Yeah.
Where are they?
My son and daughter-in-law and my 2 grandsons on his side are living in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He's building homes, and she's a registered pediatric nurse.
I see.
And my daughter and son-in-law are both back in my hometown. They're both ordained Methodist ministers.
In Abilene? I see.
And they're preaching at St. Paul's Methodist Church, the church that I was born and raised in, baptized in, and married in 1969. And now they're pastoring that church.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do they have any kids?
Yeah, they have 2.
So you have 4 grandkids?
4 grandsons. They have Noah and Daniel.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 grandsons. No grandson. I asked my son, last time I talked to him, I said, Brad, when you and Michelle going to have me a granddaughter? He said, not us, Dad. We're finished having babies. I said, oh, did you get a vasectomy and your wife get her tubes tied? He said, no, Dad, I did something a lot better and a lot cheaper. I said, what'd you do, leave home? He goes, no. I said, what did you do? He said, I built bunk beds. I said, oh, you idiot. I said, Brad, are you crazy, man? But,
so do you get to see them very often?
Oh, maybe once a year. Maybe once every other year, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they usually have to come down and see me because part of my disability is my being disorientated all the time. If I go to a new area, I have to go with somebody. I have to follow somebody around when I walk or I get lost. And new territory just intimidates me to death, you know, because I don't know where this is and where that is. And I have to have my home set up where I know where everything is. Nobody comes in here and changes the drawers where the forks go or anything like that, because that just will really mess me up.
Right.
So I have to be real careful with doing that. Everything has to be in certain order.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're only 58 years old, and this happened to you 26 years ago. When you were 33, 25 years ago. Just sometimes you just wonder, you know, why me? I mean,
oh yeah, I've gone through that a lot, and every time I do, the Lord always taps me on my empty head up here, and He says, "You're supposed to be writing me a book."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh yeah."
How often do you get to it?
Oh, I work on it just about at least once a week. I'll sit down and start going over it and reading what I've already got and then rewriting it. I do more rewrites than anything. You know, I'll get it. I don't like that. I'll tear that page down and start here, go again.
Right.
But I've been, in my spare time, been searching for publishers that might be interested in something like that. But I found out, and since I've been in the idea business of getting published, that publishing business that can be a crooked groove. There are so many vanity press out there that say, "Oh yeah, we'll publish a book if you'll send us $1,000 or $5,000 to get started," or something like that. Oh, there's a lot of those out there.
Yeah.
Man, cheers.
Yeah, you gotta be careful though.
Yeah, and also since I've been here in Brian, I'm still a member of the local chapter of the Silver Tongue Toastmasters.
Okay.
We go have a meeting once a week on Thursdays.
Right.
And that usually conflicts with my once a month Thursday meeting with the DAV. So I usually go to my DAV since I've been in that. I'm an officer.
Right. Now the Toastmasters, I've done radio features on them before. They concentrate on speaking and bring speakers in and things like that.
We work through a big, quite an extensive manual. You know, when you join Toastmasters, you work through your icebreaker speech, the very first speech. You just tell you about yourself and everything you know, so the members can get to know you. And then there's persuasive speaking, inspirational speakings and stuff, all types of speaks like that. And Don Vietor is the president of the club.
Yeah, I think I've spoken with him.
Yeah.
Right. So you never remarried?
No.
Is that right?
No, I got close at one time. It's the dirtiest thing, Tom. You know, being lonely, you also go blind, blind, deaf, and dumb. But I used to go out with a friend of mine before he got married. We used to go out to the Hall of Shame and do some country and western. I like the country and western dance. But I met this girl out there one night. We danced. She was a good dancer. We started talking. I said, "Well, how would you like to go out to dinner sometime?" So we made a date, and she wasn't on the early part of the conversation when I was telling people that I'm legally blind. I have a real narrow tunnel vision. And I said, what time can you come by and pick me up Friday? She goes, "Pick you up?" I said, "Well, I can't drive." She goes, "What do you mean you can't drive?" I said, "Well, I'm legally blind." She goes, "Now you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes. We've been dancing all night." I said, "But I said, I don't have any peripheral vision." She says, "What's that?" I said, "I can't see anything on the side." She goes, "Oh." She says, "Yeah, I don't mind picking you up." So she came over there on Friday night. We went out to dinner and we dated for a little while. And then I started, of course, it was easy for old Bill to start falling in love, you know. And I started falling in love like her, and I got engaged to her. Engaged to be married. And she said, "Well, we're not going to rush into it." I said, "Okay, that's fine. I don't mind long engagement." Well, we dated long there, and I knew she had been married in the past because she had a son. At that time, he was about 15, 16 years old. But that didn't bother me because I've got 2 children. So, come to find out that we were talking one day, and I says, "Well, whatever happened to your husband?" She says, "Which one?" I said, "Well, the husband of your son." She goes, "Oh, well, he was killed in a car accident." I said, "Oh, that's not." But the other 4 are still living in this area. I said, "The other 4?" She was several years younger than I was. She'd already been married and divorced 5 times. So I thought that was pretty much of a risky business. So I broke that off. You know, I said, "Can I have my ring back?" She brought me my ring back. Oh, I said, "Lord have mercy." That's all I need is a woman been married 5 times, divorced 5 times. I told her, I said, "I did not want to be number 6 on your list of dead relationships." I said, "Shoot, man." But other than that, I hadn't dated him quite a while. You know, it's hard in this town, Tom, in this college community, to find a woman close to my age that's not going with somebody, engaged somebody, or married, or one foot in the grave and the other on the napkin, or already in a rest home. You know, it's hard to find somebody in the age of 45 to 55 that's unmarried. And of course, I got some specifics. You know, they have to be Christian. You know, and I prefer a Caucasian. And because I don't want to speak, I don't want to try to learn. With my memory problem, trying to learn a foreign language wouldn't be tough. That would be tough.
Right. But it seems like you have a lot of, you keep busy. You know, people come and get you and take you
I do.
where you need to go.
My sister, God bless her, my parents died in 1994. And they lived here in Bryan for quite a few years.
Your sister lives here?
Out in Steep Hollow.
Okay.
But they passed away, and my sister became my legal guardian. I have a brother that's 3 years younger. He lives out in College Station somewhere out by the Dansby power plant. But he's never been much of a family member. You know, he doesn't ever communicate with my sister, and she doesn't communicate with him because he's always so obnoxious. And he doesn't usually ever call me. I call him sometimes to see what he's doing. But so my sister, my mother made a wise choice of putting Sylvia in charge of my estate, or my trust account that mother set up for me. And I've got some nephews, some good nephews, Rick and Robbie. Robbie is
your sister's kids.
Robbie is the owner of the jewelry store down here on East 29th Street. And Ricky's he didn't do a lot of landscaping, but now he's into doing house remodeling and interior decorating type stuff like that. He and his wife work together.
They're both here?
Yeah.
The nephews?
Yeah.
I see. And what? And what did your sister do?
She was a retired teacher. She retired. Well, she taught a lot in Abilene, but then when she moved down here, she taught quite a few years at Henderson Elementary School. Elementary school teacher.
Right.
And my brother-in-law, he was assistant football coach at Bryan High. Henry Caldwell, his name. And they're both retired. I call them both retarded now.
Right.
So she said, well, that makes us all equal.
Yeah.
You retarded, he retarded, I'm retarded, we're all retarded.
Well, this story is fascinating, and it's a different kind of story that I've told on my show before. But if you don't mind telling it, I would love to.
Sure.
I'd love to do it. And what we do? Have you seen the show?
Yeah.
Okay. What we do is, and I'll come over and get you. I'll come over and pick you up. I've done that before with folks, and that's not a problem at all.
Right.
And we're going to do it on Wednesday, if that's okay.
This coming Wednesday?
Yeah. Is that okay?
This Wednesday?
Yeah.
This Wednesday?
This is Friday.
Wednesday.
5 days from now.
Let me
Wednesday is
Wednesday 13th.
13th. Yeah. Wednesday the 13th. And I'll come pick you up at about 1 o'clock. If that's okay.
Pick me up at 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
Okay. To appear on the show.
Right. We're going to go over.
TV.
No, we're going to go over at KAMU.
KAMU.
Yeah, KAMU over on the campus. Over on the A&M campus. We'll drive over there.
Okay.
And we'll be sitting in chairs, just sort of like we're sitting now. And there'll be cameras.
I won't wear a show.
And that's fine. And we'll, they'll set up have the cameras set up and all of that. And we'll just sort of talk kind of like we're talking now. It's a 30-minute show. We'll talk about your military service. We'll talk about your growing up. We'll talk about
I don't even remember how many exactly, but I made a few trips to Viet Nam in a military airlift transport to pick up wounded.
Okay, well now tell me about.
In those days.
Well, tell me about that because I want to hear about that. This was when you were in Illinois.
Yeah, when I was in Illinois. Thing happened.
As a respiration.
Cardiopulmonary
technologist in Illinois at Fort Scott.
No, at Scott Air Force Base.
Scott Air Force Base. Excuse me.
It was a military airlift command.
So you went from there to Vietnam to pick up people?
Yeah, I went to trips to pick up wounded, and in those days I called them children because they were a lot younger than I was.
Right.
And these poor kids came back were pretty much wounded, or wounded, shrapnel wounded, gunshot wounded, or blown out of their mind with the drugs. And they were bringing them back to Scott to.
Because you were 29, 30 years old, right?
Yeah.
At the time. Yeah. Okay.
And they were still teenagers. Some of them. Some of those kids, Tom, had so much hate for America, hate for the life because of what had happened to them. And I try to just, talk to them in the way, to say, hey man, you're alive. You're going back to a free country. and you got your whole life ahead of you, so don't stop now. Just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the very first, when I first got to Scott, I wanted to go so bad. I wanted to pick up some wounded GI and bring them back to Scott. Well, for a long time there, I thought the big transport aircraft would just go. They would go stateside to one of the state bases and pick up some that had been brought back from Vietnam, and then haul them back to Scott, since it was a specialty base. Well, I just kept bugging my OIC and my master sergeant about when am I going to get to go? When am I going to get to go? When am I going to go? Don't worry, Sergeant. You'll get your chance. You'll get your chance. Well, I just kept it up for a long time. One morning, while I was having breakfast with the family, the phone rang and my wife got it. She said, "Bill, it's Colonel Griggs." And that was my OIC. And I almost stood to attention. I go, "Yes, sir." He said, "Sergeant Hamilton, we need you at the base ASAP. We've got a mission for you." I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, I got to go now. We've got a mission for you. We're going to go pick up a wounded GI. I'll probably see you sometime late this evening." Okay. So I tootled down there, and by the time I got to the base, they heard us all. There were 2, 3, 4 of us going. Heard us into the aircraft, and we took off. About 30, 40 minutes into the flight, the pilot came over the PA system and says, "Welcome aboard, gentlemen. Our next stop, Saigon, Vietnam." I said, I thought we were going to go stateside to pick up somebody. Not to Vietnam.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh man," I said, "Lord, I didn't even tell it. I told everybody I'd be back this afternoon." Oh, God.
Were you able to get word for it to them that you'd be gone a little bit longer?
Yeah.
So how long a flight was that?
About 18 hours. It was a long flight.
And you went and you picked them up? Did you spend some time there, or did you?
Just a couple hours, but when we were triaging them,
right,
and getting them ready to go back to the States,
right.
But
so how many of these flights did you make to Vietnam?
3.
3?
What got me is just, people in America just don't understand how blessed we are not to come into an airport and not look down and see gunshots, people shooting at you. That's what got me. There's people, so much hate over there. Everybody was shooting at everybody else. Didn't like Americans, and America didn't like them. And war is hell. Whatever politician or statesman said that he put the coin, and that was just a perfect phrase.
Right.
Because not only does it destroy people physically, but mentally too.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, but my stay at Scott Air Force Base was a real good experience for me.
So how long were you there until you just
4 years.
Okay.
I spent my entire tour of duty at Scott.
I see.
But they mainly assigned me to go to pick up the airmen, our military men, the GIs that were required mechanical ventilation. Some of them, 2 or 3 of them were in iron lungs. Several of them were on respirators, and I was trained in respiratory therapy, respirators. So I maintained the respirator equipment on the way back.
Yeah. Right.
That's the reason I was called.
Right. So you were pretty busy on the way back.
Oh yeah, that was my expertise.
Right. My goodness.
Well,
we'll talk about that too, and I want to talk about the DAV because I haven't really had much on the show about the DAV. It's the only organization that is 110% behind veterans. Right.
They work everything they do. They work towards the disabled vet. And to talk to Floyd Wells, that would be a good man to have on the program.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Because he knows veteran affairs better than the legislature.
Right. And he was in Korea and Vietnam, or
no, just Korea.
I see. What branch was he in?
He was Air Force.
Air Force. Was he a pilot or did he?
No, he was an air sea rescue.
I see.
He's the one, he made, I think he said he made 30 some odd jumps, and he said the last one was just as scary as the first one.
Yeah.
And he said he never could figure out why anybody would want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Have you got any pictures of yourself when you were in the service or anything like that?
No, I don't. My sweet wife threw all that stuff away.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I used to have a picture of me in my uniform with the base commander painting my. I've got I don't know where it was, somewhere around here.
Is it on the wall
with the medals that I earned when I was over there.
Oh, wow. Right here? Are these 4?
Yes, yeah. Yes, that's it. Yeah, I've got those medals. I've got one for each year, and I thought I was very proud of those. None of them, they're not the Congressional Medal of Honor, but they're for.
Well, you got National Defense, Military Merit, Efficiency, and this one here, whichever one that is, right there.
Yeah, that's for my service at Scott.
Right. Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, I enjoy the military. In fact, many times I have kicked myself in the bobo. Because I joined in '71. Well, in 1991, I could have retired for 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, you know, hindsight's always 20/20.
Right.
That's my family. Right after I got out of the Air Force, I got my hair back. That was the picture. I used to do volunteer work at the Elm Street Center. I used to take my guitar and play songs. So there's an elderly retiree thing. I don't know if they're still in business or not.
Right.
I used to take my guitar over there once a week and sing silly songs to brighten them up.
When was this in the paper? How long ago was this?
It's been several years ago. I'm not sure exactly why. I'll have to look.
So are you still singing?
Oh, I pick on the guitar every now and then. I play whenever people want me to.
What do you sing?
Huh?
What do you sing?
Well, I like to take one of my big hobbies for years and years, Tom, is to take. I grew up in the '60s. That was my heyday.
Right.
And I like songs of the Kingston Trio.
Sure.
And, you know, the good music where you can hear it and understand
the words. Yeah.
Right. Well, I like one of my thing I like to do is take songs that were very, very popular in the '50s and '60s and change them up, and make them a little bit more silly.
Right.
Because my philosophy in life is to laugh.
Yeah.
You know, I say that show me a person that can laugh at themselves, and I'll show you a person that's going to last forever. But I like to take songs. One song is by a singer by the name of Jimmy Dean. Came up with the song Big John, Big John, Big John.
Right.
Well, here's what I did to that. So, well, every morning at the mine, you could see him arrive. Stood 6'6". Kind of broad in the shoulders, a little narrow in the mind. The deodorant he used was Pine Old Pine, Big John. What tragedy struck the mine that day? Through the smoke of the fire, that man made hell. Walked a giant of a man whom the miners knew well. He grabbed a stick, sagging timber, and gave out with a yell. Then it all caved in, just big as hell. Well, they never reopened that worthless pit. They just put a portable outhouse on top of it. And people would come from miles around to look down and say, now there's a Big John. Big John, Big John. Well, not too many people know this, but Big John had a brother. His name was Bruthy. Bruthy. He just waddled into town with an ice cream cone, a wimpy looking squirt, sort of perfume smelling. Had a tattoo of mommy on his belly. Big Bruthy. But I do some of that, Lions Club, and I've done that before at Lions Club, and Kiwanis Club, and Toastmasters Club.
It says here you set up a job readiness program.
Yeah.
In Brazos County. Yeah. At the probation department.
Yes, I did volunteer work there for years.
I see. Okay.
And these were people that are on probation, and they needed. I sat down with them and counseled them on how to dress to appear for an interview. Shave, clean clothes, bath. Say yes sir and no sir to the interviewee.
Right.
And how to fill out an application for a job. So
Yeah.
I did that kind of work.
Well, good. Well, I want you to try to remember all your volunteer work and things like this, so we can talk about that. And if you would print, two or three of your favorite poems and bring them along with you, I'll get you to read those.
Okay.
All right. We'll put this back. That's a nice story.
Well, a man at the he's no longer here. His business is no longer here. His name was Warren Grody. He owned.
Yeah, I know Warren. I know Warren very well. He owned the trophy shop. Yeah. Where did he went up north? He went up to Denison or somewhere. I forgot where he went. Yeah. No,
Mason. Well, he was Mason.
Yeah, that's right. And, I knew Warren very well.
He got that out of the paper and made that.
Yeah, he had the shop over on Villa Marie.
Yeah, I used to go there and do work for him, help him put together trophies and stuff that he.
Oh, did you?
In fact, I know one time he's got a picture of it. I don't know how many hundreds of trophies stacked in here. He brought them over and I was supposed to screw the bases on them.
Yeah.
I had hundreds of trophies all over the place.
Right. So your wife threw away all the pictures, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad.
But you remember Elvis Presley, don't you?
Oh, sure, of course.
Well, one of his big songs that got him going was Love Me Tender. And I've changed that up too. I said, love me tender, love me true. You got a size 11 shoe. Oh, my darling, oh, my sweet. Gosh, you got funny looking feet. With a hair on your toe and a bunch on your nose. You are a sight to see. But golly gee, I'm so glad you still love me. Oh, Fistarilla, go ahead, Mary Bolivar Shag Nasty, and see if I care.
If you want to bring your guitar along, you can too. Well, I'll let you sing some nice songs, Yeah, but we might do that. So I'll
Okay, now let me
you want me to call you on Wednesday morning and confirm everything is okay?
Which Wednesday? At what time?
I'm going to pick you up at 1 o'clock.
Wednesday the what? 10?
13.
13. Wednesday 13.
Yeah. At 1 o'clock, and we'll go over there, and we start taping at about 1:30, and we just tape right on through. We'll be finished by 2, and I'll bring you home, and we'll be home by 2:30 on Wednesday. I'll bring you back.
And then this is the tape thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not right on the air?
No.
Okay.
No.
So in case I belch, they take that out.
Well, yeah, but we usually just run it right through. We don't usually stop and cut and all that. So we try to just do the whole thing straight on through. But it's not live. It's called live to tape. So it won't be live on TV.
This is the radio?
No, this is TV. This is TV. Yeah, this is TV. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the audio from the TV show that we do and use it on the radio later on. I'll do a radio show with you, but I'll just use the same audio that we did on the TV. Yeah, we're going to go over to KAMU TV station. It's on campus. It's right off.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right near Kyle Field. Yeah. We'll just drive over there.
How long have you been doing this business?
Well, I've been in radio since 1989.
Oh, yeah.
And but I've been doing this show on KAMU, this TV show, since just for about a year and a half.
Yeah. When I first saw your show come on, I was really appreciative of that because, not just because I'm a veteran, but America needs to do more and recognize more of the veterans that serve this country.
Absolutely.
We've got this freedom here.
Yeah.
And people don't realize freedom is not cheap.
Right.
There's many lives that have to be lost to save our freedom.
Right. Well, I want you to, like I say, I'll lead you along the discussion when we do this, but I want you to talk, just like you're talking to me, because you express yourself very well.
Okay, just like we're talking.
Yeah, you don't have, and I'll just sort of guide the.
To me.
That's good. So I'll see you.
I want to marry you.
Okay. Those are good medals. Those are good medals. Yeah, I'll bet you are.
I really enjoyed my military service. It was had some good, when I went there, I was, the OIC of my department was a PhD physiologist. And he recognized, when I first got there, of course, when I first got there, I was an airman first class.
Yeah.
One stripe.
Right.
Of course, everybody I met after basic training had bars and stripes all over. You know, I was a low man on the totem pole.
Yeah.
And he made me feel like I was a colonel.
Right.
Because of my prior knowledge,
Right.
and I didn't have to go to tech school. And
Exactly.
He put me right to work doing I was telling the master sergeant what to do.
Yeah.
And boy, that make a mosquito wing feel good. I said, Lord have mercy.
Well, that's good. Well, you can just wear, you know, whatever you want to wear. Wear long pants. That'd be good. You can wear that hat if you want. That would be good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Your DAV hat. So we can talk about that.
Okay.
And that'll be good. And I'll see you Wednesday at 1 o'clock. But I'll call you Wednesday morning and remind you, okay, that I'm going to come. I'll call you on Wednesday and be sure to remind you.